Welcome in, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Now, with us being just 42 days away from Andor Season 2, I've just seen that Tony Gilroy has done an interview with Collider and touched on a few interesting facts ahead of Season 2 that I wanted to share if anyone out there who's not crazy like me and is searching for all the Star Wars news, or searching for all the Andor news in in getting ready for season two. So here we go. And obviously, if you want to check out this article, I will leave it in the description below for you to read through and check out. Tony touched on a question in relation to season two having a different release schedule, with us usually getting 2 or 3 episodes on the first night and then just an episode a week after that. Well, what's happening different is because Andor season two is taking place across 5 years, and there being arcs per 3 episodes, and then there obviously being time jumps. We're going to be getting 3 episodes per week. But Tony goes on to mention that this was very much a Disney decision, and I don't know what to make of this, because originally my first reaction is I always have this conspiracy theory that Disney treats Star Wars like the unwanted second child, and Marvel is the wanted child that gets all the special privileges. But if you like, I've gone and looked at what is yet to come out on Disney Plus after the Andor season two release, and there's nothing for several months, like 2, 3, 4 months. That's Marvel or Star Wars, so it's not like scheduling has played an impact, and whether Disney has seen that these style of the show being different arcs every couple episodes, whether they're just pile the episodes in a short period of time. Obviously, they could be trying something different. With that, could be a way to get more subscribers in a short period of time. Like, surely, like, we're getting on the back end of the financial year. Could be like, Disney is a business, so surely there must be a reason behind this, and surely it is a business decision. But it's before we've seen this season, it seems to possibly going to work. Like, from how I'm seeing it, it seems to work. Like, they're not jumbling up the episodes or anything like that. So fingers crossed it works out well. But it is interesting that Disney have made this decision. And in the way Tony answers this question, he mentions that when they finished filming in November 2024, he found out this decision by Disney like as they were finishing filming. Another question Tony gets asked is, with the themes and toning, obviously, of the empire and fascism, that did they take anything from the real world with particular specific events, to make that, or like make it a parallel of what's happening in the real world at the moment with everything going on in our world 2025. Tony goes on to mention that it's not like we have someone standing on the set with a newspaper checking for things what's happening in the world, and how we can introduce that into Andor and Star Wars. It's more of a Tony Tony has a fascination with history, and for any history teachers out there, or anyone with a fascination with history, like, shit continues to repeat itself in human history because people don't learn from it. So I do find that fascinating, but but also, like, I see people on X or on Threads going, I can't watch season two of Andor because it's gonna remind me too much of real life, and I need my escape. Um, and like, perfect timing, I guess, for Disney, Lucasfilm, Andor season two. Of those parallels are going to be pretty obvious, for what's happening in real life, for what's happening in this season, and that could help with subscriber numbers for Disney Plus. But like, nothing's been done on purpose. Like, they haven't gone out of their way. Just, that's what this Andor was going to be backing off of Rogue One and setting up what happens in Rogue One. And so just the timing, it seems like, and like the way Tony does his movies, and has done this TV series. Like that, all of it has just lined up, it seems like, and nothing like going out of their way on purpose to create themes and tone to parallel the real world on purpose. But it seems like it's just going to work out that way. Another question Tony gets asked, that it's obvious in the latest Andor season 2 trailer that we're going to see the Gorman massacre. So Tony goes on to say, like, we know this is going to take place across 5 episodes, so 2 arcs. So in between two different times in this season. So I find that fascinating. Of like, we're going to get all the lead up to this awful event, but I do believe in. If you've watched Rebels, when Mon finally leaves the Imperial Senate and joins the brings together the Rebel Alliance from all these cells across the galaxy, the Gorman massacre, I believe, is the defining moment that is Mon having enough and doing that. So perhaps the middle of this season, 3/4 the way through, we're going to see Mon leave the Imperial Senate and begin the Rebel Alliance and be one of those founding members, those important members who create this movement. And I really do think, one, from reading the latest Star Wars book, Reign of Fear, with Mon, Bail, and Saw Gerrera being the main 3 characters in that book, of what they're up to in that time, I really do feel like that's going to connect really well into Andor season 2. And then, as a Rebels fan, with that moment, do we see some Rebels characters? Do we see that? But also, in answering this question, Tony Gilroy does mention that this season had 4 pillars that he had to adhere to. Mon Mothma leaving the Senate, in which he says there's a couple other events that lead up to all that. The development of Yavin, obviously the discovery of the Death Star and whatever the intelligence there is in espionage, and then the lead up, obviously, to the beginnings of Rogue One. He said all those things he had to get right, but the exact events to the Gorman massacre are very unspecific and not a lot of great details in that. So he kind of had a blank slate to work with Lucasfilm in the creation of what actually happens at this horrible massacre, let's to say. Like, I only remember it from Rebels, and I've never really heard of it since, so I could have missed some things in other stuff. But I will be interested to see this and see what more horrible things the Empire has done for the dream of peaceful, secure society. I could have made my voice so much more evil then for Palpatine. And then the final question I want to touch on, there's many more questions, but these are the 4 that really stuck out to me, is that in Tony gets asked about bringing in K2SO into season 2. He touches on it. He feels a lot of pressure to get that moment right, to make it kind of feel a little cute, but then also acknowledges that possibly that not having K2SO in the first season was possibly a letdown for some fans, but then also a letdown for Disney, because possibly they were hoping for that. But so my fan theory for all this will be B2 emo. What if something like there's a firefight or something, he gets damaged, physically damaged, and is going to, as a robot machine, die. And they kind of do what happened in Solo, with Lando's droid, and putting her into the Millennium Falcon. What if, to reprogram K2SO, it is actually the programming of B2 Emo, but perhaps he doesn't quite remember, but us as fans know that that's B2 Emo, but K2SO doesn't, thinks his identity, his programming is specific for him. But yeah, those are the 4 I wanted to touch on. There's many more questions. Like, Tony goes on to talk about why he's never released the script for season 1 of Andor, and his thoughts and opinions on AI and Hollywood. what he's doing next after this season with a movie he has planned. So if you're a Tony Gilroy fan, Rogue One, Andor, give this article a read. I think it goes into so much more detail than I've gone into here. So if you really want to get into the weeds of this interview with Tony Gilroy, the showrunner of Andor, then link is in the description. If you love the video, please hit like, please subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. These 4 questions I touched on, what are your thoughts on it? Do you have different opinions? Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear from you all. And as always, may the force be with you.